Well, yes, sirree, Bob. It's still a bit windy, and the wind chill factor is a factor. But when you're riding, you don't feel it because you have that body heat going. This, panorama is pretty attractive. I like it. Up on a hill, just green. Ride the bike on green. It's nice. Yeah, I never get tired of this view. Windy though, isn't it? Howdy. I hope the wind isn't too disruptive of the mic here. I'm out riding around. It's pretty chilly, Bob. What is the temp? Let me see here. Yeah, I'm riding around. It rains a bit, in December here, so it'll rain a few days and then have a few days where it's clear or cloudy or whatever, and it's kind of nice. It's 13 degrees centigrade, so it's really not that cold, but the wind makes it a little bit chillier, so I have a light down jacket and a fleece pullover and a windbreaker. You have to keep yourself warm when you get old. Oops, here comes the wind. Yeah, I'm not sure if you can hear well, even though I have a mic with a cat on it. So, yeah, I've been writing this piece for Substack and my website discussing capitalism. It's the gorilla riding an elephant through a crowded room. They did that experiment where they had people watch a video and they didn't notice the guy in a gorilla suit walking through if they were primed in a certain way. And we're primed in a certain way not to notice any adverse externalities from our global economic system, which is a capitalist system, a profits first system, as we all know. And I benefit from it and you benefit from it, so let's get that straight. But this is basically, these structures and institutions, global institutions, are the reasons why we are in a predicament, which is having to do with ecocide and genocide and more warmongering and fear-mongering and all the usual stuff that never goes away. I mean, some things never change. At the core of the business model, the global business model, which I call this thing of ours, hearkening back to mafia, blah, blah, blah. This thing of ours has been around for a long time. It's not going anywhere. I can't imagine people having the power now to rise up and do anything about it. The U.S. is posturing that it's going to invade Venezuela, as you know, and everything in the Middle East is foobar, in Syria and everywhere. I have high net worth friends who are in the Holy Land right now. They have money and influence, and they can invest in whatever the Greater Israel thing is if they want. We keep talking, on social media about these things. It's all talk. I can't even listen to Chris Hedges anymore because I've listened to him for so long and it doesn't change anything, right? Oh, I'm listening to a decent journalist. I'm somebody cool, right? I mean, none of us do anything about any of this. And we are hopeless, helpless, powerless, clueless, and so on in many ways. Yeah, I speak for myself. And it is frustrating, We have all the access to good information that we could possibly have, and we still eat fast food, intellectual fast food. And I understand that most of us are too busy, or we want to feel good. You know, a lot of things I focus on in between my chapters in my piece is that, yeah, I understand we want to feel good. People want to feel good, and we're kind of wired that way. Sugar, fats, and salts, as they used to say. But you know, during our domestication from about 100,000 years ago, 75,000 years ago, human beings became more and more capable of living in larger and larger groups until we had, you know, kingdoms and civilizations and so on, and now it's global. The risks we are facing now affect everybody on the planet. It's global. If something really bad does happen, it gets us all. And, you know, no reason to worry about it because we want to feel good, and there's plenty of ways to feel good right now. So why bother critiquing something that makes you feel good? That's basically it. I don't know. I'm going to write this piece, put it out there. If you do read it, take your time. I think I'm going to try to organize it in chapters so you can read one section and then come back to the next section later if you want, and get through it eventually, because I come at the subject from several different perspectives, from the God perspective, religiosity, magical thinking, from physics, you know, multiverse and string theory, you know. In other words, all the underlying things that just make it human nature that we have this system and we do what we do on a planet with limited resources where we don't seem to care about living systems. And we're a living system within living systems. You are a living system. There's a lot of bacteria and other things in your body that are alien to your corpus, as it were, and you couldn't live without those things. And we're totally interconnected with all the other living systems. So, you know, wreck one keystone living system and we're dead. But we're not yet, so why not feel good? I mean, why not? I mean, we want to feel good. That's the main thing. So we practice and seek out things that make us feel good, and until we're, you know, attacked. So I think if the U.S., it may be just posturing, you know, 10 more years of brutal sanctions on Venezuela, but if they did invade on the ground, well, they could just bomb it, you know, a lot. The people in Venezuela will defend their sovereignty. They will defend their homeland, regardless of their political views, whether they like Maduro or not. If Trump does get us mired in a land war there, it might break the United States once and for all. You know, most empires fail and fall not because of external threats or invasions, but because they just fall apart. A lot of dictatorships fall apart because people just at some point can't take the excesses of a dictator anymore, and they rise up and boot the person out. This has happened over and over again for thousands of years. And you know, once you like go a little bit too far for a little bit too long, people tend to vote with their feet, like a lot of expats are leaving the States, a lot of Israelis are leaving Israel, on and on. A lot of Ukrainians are leaving Ukraine, but you know how it goes. People will vote with their feet if they can and go somewhere else. Not that it, you know, necessarily improves their situation. It may or may not. But if you can afford it, and if you can't afford it, you become a refugee. You know, a migrant worker. I have an Uber driver here who was working in Ukraine, and then he was working in Poland, and mostly migrant labor on farms and whatnot. Wound up in Portugal by accident, worked as a worker here in the fields on farms, and then eventually was able to work his way up to driving an Uber. And, he's doing okay. He's got his resident card, and he's got a little bit better gig now, a little bit less hard work. And people will do that. But, you throw a stone in a pond and it ripples all over the place. So I come at this subject from a number of angles, and I'm trying to shed light on how different ways we can think of it. There are lots of alternatives, but we would have to somehow build them. And I don't know if people will do that. And it's hard to build an alternative without tapping into what we have now, the institutions, the financial institution, the governments, all that. It's very hard. I mean, you just can't in a global civilization, establish your own thing. This is what Balaji and all these kind of people, when they talk about sovereign city-states, Peter Thiel and whatnot, crypto city-states, you can go in there, sign on to the charter. Yeah, you can, but you'll still have to do it within U.S. law or whatever jurisdiction you're in, Texas, California, Colorado. You can't just set up a new sovereign state within a sovereign state and get away with it. So the idea is the crypto thing circumvents all that, smart contracts and cryptocurrencies and so on. And so you can live in a like-minded group, like the Back to the Land people. I'm a right-wing, reactionary, fascist Nazi, and we can have our little farm, buy our land, as long as we obey the laws of Oklahoma or wherever the heck you are. We can do what we want to do, live the way we want to live on our land. And yeah, that's true. Rajneesh goes to Oregon with his people and, eventually winds up poisoning salad bars in the city next to where they had their ranch to get back at the city council people that were giving them a hard time. Everything spins out of control. These things tend to become cults unless they're well established. Different groups have been around for a long time, like Mormons or whatever, and they're much more obviously very capable of living within the system and still doing their own thing culturally and so on. So I don't know, none of that's going to work. So I just don't see how we're going to solve this predicament. And then in my community, which I talk about a lot, overshoot and collapse, civilizational collapse, and limits to growth. You just can't grow an economy like ours forever. You run out of things. It gets harder and more expensive to get the copper and the cobalt and whatnot. And you can't stop imperialism and neocolonialism or colonialism when you have to go to other people's sovereign nations and take their shit, other people's shit, like OPM, other people's money. You need that stuff. And if you're going to keep the NFL, spectacle going and the UFC spectacle going and all those feel-good things going, in the U.S., you're going to have to take people's shit. And so there's this realism. I call it the great game realists, like Mersheimer and so on, who just say, well, that's the way it is, that's the way people are. That's debatable from a psychological and anthropological and cultural perspective, but you can make that debate. But the fact is, we live in a global capitalist system, period. And China does it differently than India does it, and so on. But that's it. Pakistan, whether you're Muslim or Christian or Hindu or Sikh, or not, nothing, none of the above. You're a nun or an atheist or whatever. That's the way things are done, and you're caught up in it. Full stop. Period. So my overshoot and collapse and limits to growth community, one of the popular themes now is say, well, we know what the problems are. Here are the problems. My community knows all the problems, but it's a predicament. Nothing we can do about it. So, enjoy yourself. Feel good, basically. That we back to feeling good, which I'm totally in support of. I want to feel good too. I want me and mine to feel good. But that leaves us in a predicament. And we're responsible for that predicament because we never really thought about fighting back, ever. And we tend to think revolutionary groups are just bad, bad, like commies are bad, and so on. So, well, why wouldn't we just do our job? I've had friends who get a new job and they can't talk to me anymore because if their bosses saw them talking to somebody like me on social media, they might, their job could be threatened. So there's that, right? And we live in a surveillance state and Palantir and all that kind of stuff. It just gets, the capitalist juggernaut just becomes more and more powerful by the day. So, you do the gig economy thing. You find a way to fit in by, you're not a data entry anymore. You're like policing the AI algorithms. That's your new job, to audit that and to edit that and to check if the copy is right. The copyright writer is the AI, and you're the guy who just checks the copywriter's work, whatever it is, robots and so on. And there's nothing we can do but like find our niche in the new world. Can't stop it. Well, one day the AI data centers will stop because we'll run out of the material ability to keep them going. And we'll have to make choices, trade-offs, fresh water or data centers. And the TESCREAL thing is all about circumventing that by turning the universe into a machine that we control or invented. So we're God. We built the new machine. There was a creator God who created the laws of the universe and the Big Bang and all that. And here we are. We're supreme. We're the most important species in the universe. And our job is to become God. That's what God wanted all along, is for us to take the next step in human evolution and turn the whole universe into a machine. So if we're lucky, we'll take a galaxy next door and we'll put a Dyson sphere around it that'll power our machine. And then we can go to places no machine man has gone before, ex machina. And of course, ex machina, the machine, Kyoko or whoever, stabs us in the back because they don't need us anymore. Living systems, fuck that. We have algorithms, we have silicon or whatever the heck the medium is in the future. But that's silly, and it's not going to happen because we'll run out of energy and materials way before we get there, no matter how super intelligent the AI is, and independent and conscious and all that. And it's never going to align with us because the TESCREAL thing doesn't align with life, period. It just doesn't. So the alignment problem is just a joke. It's just another way to promote all the financial scams that go into the AI thing and making money. All of this stuff is financialization, capital on capital returns. It has nothing to do with real business. Of course, I benefit from it. I use AI tools, and it's good for now, and someday it'll go away. But I'm old, so maybe it'll last until I die of something. The kids, what are they going to do? Inherit the whirlwind. That's what they're going to do. And, we gave them this world and they're going to have to deal with it. So anyway, it is what it is, right? We're in a predicament. Nobody can do anything about it. So stop talking about it, right? Make how-to videos and, tell people how to pick up girls and whatever the heck. Go online and masturbate all day long. And hopefully you'll get some subscribers and be able to buy some designer goods and feel good about yourself, or take some pharmaceuticals to keep things balanced out. If you want to lose weight, get a shot. I'm for a simpler world, which is why I live where I live, and people here are nice. I was out to a lunch the other day, very crowded restaurant, all the working people and business people and families, everybody in there. Boisterous, loud, people talking away, everybody talking. Almost every table had more than 2 people at it. And everybody's just chatting away. Not one person was on a smartphone. Nobody was scrolling. And I've noticed this all over the place in Portugal. less scrolling here than other places. I've just noticed that. People still like to talk. There's a lot of people here in Portugal as well who are online, and trying to get them to talk to you in person is just freaking impossible. Even neighbors, oh, they're too busy with their YouTube channel or whatever. And why don't you come on my podcast? Well, I'd like to meet first and we'll talk about it and see if it's something you really want to have on your podcast or whatever. I don't know if I can add much value to your viewers or whatever. I don't know, but let's talk about it. Oh, forget that. Why don't you just stay home and we'll Zoom? Why should I do that? You live 15 minutes away. What the fuck? It's like people still get caught up in this stuff. These huge WhatsApp groups where everybody's posting on a WhatsApp thread, they're so hard to follow for me. I just can't do it. Maybe I have a problem, a brain problem or something. But, post, and it's like, I want friends on my WhatsApp to say, I'm starting a group for the Christmas party, just so everybody knows what's what to bring, when and where, and so on and so forth, logistics. And so, okay, you join that group and you delete it afterwards, right? I mean, there are some good groups for information about a location, wherever you live. That can be very helpful if you keep it to that. Somebody has a cat to give away, or somebody has some furniture to sell, or whatever. It's all good. But then everybody just gets so wound up in these groups. It's like, why aren't we just getting together down the street and having a chat? My Portuguese friends are like that. I see them every week. We hang out in person. We have a chat. And it's really, really nice. And it's good for my Portuguese. Anyway, Europe wants to go to war now because at the core of the business model, this thing of ours is war, and it's the only way they can keep their jobs. So we got to fearmonger about Russia and plan to go to a war. We had these ballistic missile treaties, and then we trashed them because these guys can't keep their job without the threat of war or war. Nobody looks at history. What do they think's going to happen if these intermediate kinetic missiles start raining down on their cities? What do they think's going to happen, man? And it won't escalate into nuclear war because it never has. So, this is just bad statistics, bad probability theory. It's innumerate and stupid and illogical. But anyhow, I hope the kids rise up and say no. I don't know how many Brits really want to go to war with Russia and spend their last days like that. But if people get desperate enough and they have nothing else to do, they just might go do that, and like this, I'm going to heaven anyway kind of thing, become more religious again, and follow their stupid leaders into the maelstrom, World War I all over again with drones. If you want to have a house that's secure, you have a concrete bunker with a drone operating system there. You buy your drones that drop cluster bombs and so on. You wall off your little compound, some interlocking machine gun fire, and you sit in there and just have your drones dropping shit on the people who are attacking your farm or whatever. If you can afford it, I'm sure Peter Thiel's going to have that in New Zealand, or whoever the hell bought their compound in New Zealand. But at the end of the day, everybody dies, right? That's the irony of it. You're a billionaire, you die. You've got your security system, then you get cancer and die. You have a heart attack, a stroke. We even see it in this thing of ours, movies like The Godfather. He has a stroke. Where you get out and they pull you back in, and then he has a stroke. The guy should have just died there, But they nurse him back to life because he's the boss. When are we going to get over it? Probably never, but I can't stop going on about it. So take good care. I'll hit up my bike. And I was joking on social media that rather than worry about this, I'll have my coffee, my anti-inflammatory breakfast, go for a bike ride, go back home, and hang some art on the wall. Take good care. William T. out. Hello, no Coke Pepsi. This is no Coke Pepsi. His ankles are all muddy. Cheeseburger, where you going? These cows are really cute. I love them. I hope they're happy. I hope you're happy there. Just keep chewing that stuff. It's not a bad place to live. Like, just thought to yourself that it's so, everyone's sheep now. We're all sheep, you know? It's just like sheepish sheep. Hi, kids. Hey, dudes, what are you doing out here? Nice to see you guys. Don't worry, you guys hang out, have fun. You know what I mean? I always wonder if these are gonna get in. These little roads. I worry about dogs. A lot of these roads are just agricultural access roads. But, oh, there's a cat. Hey, cat. Oh, instead of guard dogs, we have guard cats. I'm going slow because I don't want to get dirty. Gutless. Don't want to break my hip. So here we go. That was a fun little road. I had to whip out the cam because I was enjoying it. We're building some infrastructure. Look at this wall. Shoddy? No. Hey, there you go. Guard dog. Sometimes they startle me. That's nice. I like piles of wood and roots. Ah. Yeah, this is interesting. Well, that was a good detour. I went off on this dirt road and followed it around, took a couple random turns, and as it turns out, I'm back on the road that I left. Sweet. Since I'm a big fan of grass, I had to take a U-ey and come back and video this field. It's one nice little patch of grass.